Welcome back to another edition of the Futbol Forever podcast, a podcast where we talk about the LigaMX and everything going on around Mexican football. Oh man, week 3 of the LigaMX is behind us. What we expected to be a fantastic showdown, a great match to watch between Cruz Azul and Tigres, ended up being a snooze fest, a tactical match, I guess you can call it. Some will say, I don't know. It was boring. Let's just be honest. It was a boring match between Cruz Azul and Tigres. It let me down. But Cruz Azul walks away with the victory, 1-0. But yeah, not much offense from either team. I was expecting a lot more from Tigres, although we should point out that they were missing their best player, their most important player, André Pierre Gignac. But hey man, other results. You had America picking up the victory in Pachuca, 3-1 victory over Los Tuzos. And Pumas, man. Pumas, in my opinion, has been the best team of the season, man. They've been the best team so far. A lot of hype is around Cruz Azul and this new project from Ricardo Peláez. In my opinion, if you've gotta point out the best so far. It's still super early. A lot could happen, but after 3 weeks, the best team, in my opinion, has been Pumas. Nico dependence is not a thing. 3 games, 3 wins. They're playing well. They're scoring a ton, and everyone's scoring. A lot of different players are scoring. It's not just one player stepping up. It's the entire team. So good stuff from Pumas. And in my opinion, the best game of the weekend was the Toluca versus Chivas. There was goals, there was red cards, there was slaps in the face of Sambuesa, there was fist fights. I mean, it didn't really escalate to a fist fight, but there was plenty of drama and then good football. Honestly, there was good football what we presenced with the Toluca versus Chivas. So let's dive right into it. Amen. Let's talk about it. You know it. You've been hearing it all week, and we're going to do it too. Diego Lainez. Dieguito Lainez. America's Wonder Kid puts on a great performance Saturday night in Pachuca. And whether it was due to injury of key players or for other reasons, I was happy to see that Miguel Herrera gave Lainez an opportunity. I feel like in the past, Miguel Herrera would have found, some way to leave him benched. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's so much pressure on Herrera to play Lainez, and not just from the outside voices from the media or from fans, but Diego's himself. He probably performs well in practice. I don't know because I can't watch practice, but he probably plays well in practice. And then when he gives them some minutes, Diego Lainez plays well. So that causes pressure on Miguel Herrera. And the kid was just asking for an opportunity. I was just happy to see that Herrera actually gave him that chance for him to show himself and for him to put his skills on display for everyone to watch, because we've seen him do it with Mexico, with El Tri in U21s and U23s. We've seen, I don't think U23s, but U21s, we've seen Diego Lainez perform. The Toulon tournament, he put on a hell of a show. He was voted the best player of the tournament. He's got it, man. The kid wanted an opportunity, and I'm glad that Miguel Herrera gave it to him. He shows personality, man. The way he plays, he's just extremely aggressive, and I love that about his play style. He's fearless. You give him the ball with space. There's one defender, he's going straight at him. He's going to put the moves on him. And a lot of what frustrates me about a lot of other players and specifically Mexican players is that, they'll have the defender. Their wingers, they'll have the defender one-on-one with plenty of space, and they don't attack. They don't go for it. And that's something that we do see that Chucky Lozano does, which is what we want to see, man. Attack the damn player. You have a ton of space. Don't be afraid to go at him. And this is a quality of Diego Lainez. He plays fearless. He's extremely aggressive in his play style, and it's just beautiful to watch. So Diego Lainez picks up 2 goals. This was the first time he's ever scored for Club America, with the first team at least, in the Liga MX. So congrats to him. Welcome to the club, Diego Lainez. But now, with Lainez scoring these 2 goals, Miguel Herrera has a good problem on his hands. Who should he play? I mean, how do you remove Diego Lainez from the starting lineup after his performance Saturday night against Pachuca? How do you do it? 2 goals. The kid played fantastic. And I understand the whole respecting a player's spot in the lineup if they lost a spot because of an injury. I get it. You don't want a player to lose his spot in the starting 11 because they got injured. But players like Cecilio Dominguez, players like Menez, like Renato Ibarra, they get injured often. And at some point, they're going to have to be held accountable. I mean, I understand, an injury is out of your control. No one chooses to get injured. But you really serve the team no good if you're constantly out due to injury. So a player like Lainez is gonna take advantage of those opportunities. You're out due to injury. Once again, he gets the opportunity. He plays lights out. The spot is his now. I don't know, man. That might be an unpopular opinion, but because no one chooses to get injured. But if you're a fragile player and you're constantly out due to injury, at some point, you got to be held accountable, and the player that came in because you were out has to be respected. If he earned the right to keep that spot, then the spot is his, and you're gonna have to, in practice and in games, you're gonna have to beat him out of it. So let's hope that Diego Lainez continues to be a starter for Club America, because he shows some great stuff, some great potential, and he fits, man. He fits in this starting 11. You know what I mean? No one is a lot better than Diego Lainez. Ibarra has been playing well this season, but you already started. 3rd week in, he's out due to muscle fatigue. Mateus Uribe, I think he had a fever or something like that. He had a cold, so he was out for the game. But Cecilio is another player that is always, unluckily is always out due to injury. So we'll see, man. We'll see if Diego Lainez continues to earn minutes, and I definitely do expect the kid to keep earning caps, because, like I said, he's earned it, man. He's earned it with his play on the field. So let's move on to the Cruz Azul versus Tigres match. A match that we were all looking forward to. We were anxious for it because it was supposed to be the stellar matchup of Week 3 in the Liga MX. And unfortunately, it did not live up to the hype. It was one of those very, I'm using air quotes here, tactical, very strategic matches. A chess game, some would call it. But nah, man, it was boring. It was boring, and like I said, it did not really live up to the hype. Tigres did control the ball. They had possession, but name one real good scoring, goal scoring opportunity that Tigres had. They really didn't have it. And it was clear that this team missed Gignac, their best player. Players like Gignac often bail out Tigres when they're not playing well. Tigres is stacked. Their roster is stacked. They have a ton of stars. Ener Valencia, you have Lucas Elarayan, you have Guido Pizarro. So a lot of the times when Tigres isn't clicking as a team, a brilliant play from one of these stars, especially Gignac, will bail them out and will get you the W, will get you the result. But against Cruz Azul, they were missing Gignac and no one else stepped up. So the team just looked flat. And, more on the Cruz Azul side, I was just happy that it was Roberto Alvarado who got the goal, man, because he was one of my underrated signings for this offseason, man. He looked really good, really promising with Necaxa. Ricardo Peláez comes in. The Cruz Azul scoops up Roberto Alvarado, and I think the kid has a great future. I'm really hoping that he keeps up this form. So far, in 3 weeks, he's played great with Cruz Azul. I'm really hoping that he keeps up this form because I want the kid to get a chance in El Tri for the friendlies coming up this fall. Same could be said for Diego Lainez. I want both Roberto Alvarado and Diego Lainez to keep up their form because I want them to earn at least a spot in El Tri for these international friendlies coming up this fall. So let's hope that they could both keep it up, but not much more to be said with the whole Cruz Azul Tigres match. I was kind of disappointed, man. And then a team that has not disappointed this season has been Pumas, man. Pumas, like you heard me say at the beginning of the pod, Pumas has been the best team in the Liga MX so far. 3 games, 3 wins for Pumas. They're playing well. They're scoring a ton. Huge credit has to go to David Patiño because so far this team is having a fantastic season. Now it's still very, very early, and the team just lost a very important piece, a very important midfielder in Chelo Diaz. He was sold to Racing, and reports say that he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave Pumas. They sold him without his consent, but then you had Rodrigo Ares de Pargas on ESPN this morning. He's the Pumas sporting president, say that he agreed to go, that both him and Pumas came to an agreement that he would be sold because they offered him, Racing from Argentina offered him a very, very good contract, a 3-year contract. And for a 31-year-old, it was a good deal, a deal that he could not refuse. So there's kind of conflicting reports there. Who knows what the truth is, but Pumas, man, I thought they were going to be in bad shape, and I really didn't expect much from this Pumas team because they got rid of Gallardo, because they got rid of their most important piece for the past couple of seasons, which was Nicolás Castillo. They sold him to Benfica, but because of these 2 sales, the sporting president, Ares de Parga, reports that Pumas was able to spend in the offseason because they had already sold Jesus Gallardo to Monterrey, and because they had already gotten rid or sold Nico Castillo to Benfica, they had money to spend in the Liga MX draft in the offseason, and they spent more this offseason in this year's draft than they did in the last 4 drafts combined. So they picked up new players like Felipe Mora, Juan Iturbe, Carlos Gonzalez from Necaxa. Not huge names, but definitely players that have experience playing in the Liga MX. And so far, it's worked out for them. Pumas has built a good team, and they're playing as a team, and they're accomplishing great things so far. It's still very early in the Liga MX. So on to the next match that I really wanted to talk about, because in my opinion, it was the best game of the weekend, and that is Toluca versus Chivas. It had a little bit of everything. It had some drama, but more importantly, it had good football, man. And Chivas is slowly but surely improving. The improvement is mostly obvious and visible on the offensive end. They still got a ton of work to do defensively, but offensively, they showed some improvements, and you got to give Cardoso some credit right there. Chivas played decent, to be honest with you. They did play decent this match. Gael Sandoval shined bright. He looked very, very good. That first play, man, Ángel Saldívar ended up getting the goal in the Chivas' first goal, but that play from Gael Sandoval, the way he split 2 defenders, the shot, curling it into the right post, it was a thing of beauty, and I wish that one went in because that would have been a hell of a golazo. But yeah, what a play from Gael Sandoval, and let's hope he keeps it up, man. Good stuff from Ángel Saldívar, getting his brace, getting 2 goals. Hopefully this helps him gain confidence, because there's some youngsters in the Chivas roster that are just waiting for an opportunity, like JJ Macías. He's right there just waiting for an opportunity. So Saldívar has to keep it up. He has to keep scoring, because if not, the spot is gonna be for the young guns waiting for a chance. So like I was saying, man, Chivas improved offensively. Defensively, still got a ton of work to do. They're suffering defensively. They're very slow. They're very, very slow, and they're suffering so much so that they're opening or reopening the doors for Osvaldo Alanis, a defender that they practically pushed away from the organization. He went to Europe. We all thought he was going to play with Getafe in the Spanish league, but Getafe announces that they have a saturation overbooking of defenders, of left-footed defenders in their club, and that they don't want to keep Osvaldo Alanis, so they're looking to give him an out. They're looking for a team to take him. So very, very unfortunate stuff for Alanis. It sucks he won't be playing in Getafe. He's looking, the latest reports say he's looking for another option in Europe. He does not want to return to Chivas. So that Chivas tweet on Tuesday night made them look a little bit desperate, because they were pretty much saying like, hey, we've won a lot of things together. Please come back. And it made the team look very desperate, but Chivas needs some help on defense. So they're definitely reopening the doors. They're trying to make things right with Osvaldo Alanis, but latest reports say he has no interest in returning to the LigaMX, not with Chivas. It seems like he's still a little bit hurt, and you can't blame the guy. You really can't blame the guy for the way the club pushed him out. But it definitely just looks like this newly restructured Chivas is looking to make things right. First, Amaury Vergara's public apology to Pizarro after Pizarro's comments of how he left Chivas and how they told him he was no longer part of the club and how he was sold just like that. Hey, you've been sold to Monterrey. And then now with this whole Alanis tweet and their comments, their public statements that they would accept Osvaldo Alanis with open arms, which is kind of ridiculous. So we'll see if Osvaldo Alanis ends up returning to Chivas. The probabilities of that happening are very, very low. So let's go over all of the results for Week 3 in the Liga MX. You have on Friday night, Veracruz and Morelia tying 2-2. Pumas defeating Atlas 3-0. Necaxa in the final minutes of the match, taking the win from Lobos Buap. You had a Club America defeating Pachuca on the road 3-1. Cruz Azul defeating Tigres 1-0. Monterrey defeating Gallos Blancos del Querétaro 2-1. Toluca and Chivas drawing 2-2. Santos defeating Puebla at home 2-0. And Xolos drawing with León 1-1. So now that we got all the results out of the way, let's talk about something right before we close out the podcast. And that is the Memo Ochoa to Napoli situation. What the hell is going on? So the latest reports say Standard Liège rejected a loan offer from Napoli for 500,000 euros. Yes, you heard it right. 500,000 euros. That's €500,000. That offer is a joke and it should have been rejected. Standard Liège, you can't blame them for rejecting that one. So it appears the clubs are still in negotiation, but Standard Liège's final request was that Memo plays at least the first leg of the Champions League qualifiers versus Ajax. They played them. That game already happened. Memo Ochoa had a mistake, and then he made up for that mistake later by I guess, achieving an epic save that saved the result for Standard Liège. The final score in that match of leg 1 was 2-2. But it seems like Napoli is starting to get a little bit impatient, man. And now you hear David Ospina's name, the Colombian goalkeeper, in the mix. Now, this may be a way for Napoli to start putting pressure to close the Ochoa deal because, like I said, it's been going on for way too long. I want it to get closed, man. Whether the answer is yes or no, let's end this one, man. So Napoli starting to get impatient, and now you start hearing David Ospina's name in the mix. If this Napoli deal doesn't happen for Memo Ochoa, he may be the unluckiest player in history. Or have the worst agent in history. This deal has to happen for Memo, man. Because he's been rumored to go to a lot of different big clubs throughout his career, especially after his World Cup performance in 2014, and then now in his good performance in Russia 2018. You heard Ochoa going to Napoli, you heard Ochoa going to this club, to that club. It still hasn't happened, man. It still hasn't happened. It's August 8th. So let's hope that this could finally happen for Memo. Because like I said, if it doesn't, he might be the unluckiest player or have the worst agent in history. So that's basically all I have to say for Memo Ochoa. Let's hope it happens for the sake of Mexican football and because I feel like the dude deserves it. So let me tell you right before we close out the podcast, the stellar games, the games that I'm looking forward to the most for week 4 in the Liga MX. The first one, it's pretty obvious. America versus Monterrey on Saturday night. I mean, come on, two of the best teams in the league currently. How can we not get hyped for this one? The next one, Tigres versus Toluca. Although Tigres didn't play well against Cruz Azul, this is a game that is definitely on my radar. And then the next one, Xolos versus Cruz Azul. Can La Máquina make it 4 out of 4? It's going to be a tough test for them in Tijuana in that artificial field. So I'm looking forward to that one. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I really hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Let me know any questions, any feedback for the podcast in the comments down below. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Futbol Forever out.